back, everyone, to this week's episode of Booking the Territory, the Unprofessional Wrestling Podcast, where today we're covering WCW Saturday Night on TBS from April the 13th of 1991. I am sitting here with a very miserable Doc and not hard-body Harper, who had to take care of some Wildcat business tonight. There's this thing with the NWA happening soon down on the bayou, and I don't know. So he could not make it, unfortunately, and there was not going to be another day and time when it would have happened. But like I said, I'm sitting here with my longest running co-host. It's me and him who started this thing, and here we are all these years later. Doc, I hope you're not about to do the Burger King thing or the Von Erich thing, because I know you're miserable.
You're just lucky that I couldn't find a Burger King the last couple of days.
I'm not lucky. I'm glad you couldn't find one.
No.
You were unhinged on Sunday night. By the time the people hear this, maybe you'll have another loss. But you were completely unhinged on text message, and I just had to mute my notifications because I just didn't want to hear the gunshot go off when you decided to finally end it. No? Okay.
All I told you was the truth.
No. 16-0, 17-0, Super Bowl. Suck it, brother. Suck it up, Buttercup.
No.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
No, that's not accurate. The patrons know better.
This isn't going to just the patrons, Bubba.
And I guess I'll have to break kayfabe and tell everybody I didn't pick. I didn't pick the Cowboys to win their division.
Here we go. Hedging his bets.
And I said on the patron special that I wasn't convinced they were going to make the playoffs before all of this. But here's the thing. You go out on week one against a good team. I can see it if you don't win. But to put two poots out there like they did, that was embarrassing. And, you know,
tell us right now. Keep going. I want you to get it all out because you've been texting me.
There's so many people to blame. But the real blame at the heart of it all goes to the Jones family. They're just not good people. They're certainly not good football people. They have that rich, powerful thing where they can't look in the mirror and say, oh, maybe it's my fault just once, or maybe I should do something different. So they keep making the same mistakes over and over. We've been valued as the most valuable franchise in the sports world, and we're under the cap this year.
Bruh.
You have the highest valuation of any franchise in sports, and you're keeping fucking powder dry. You cheap pricks. And so here's the thing. Y'all out there like, nah, Doc, blah, blah, blah. Look, who the fuck am I supposed to root for? I'm from here. I hate the owners. I should be a sympathetic figure because I'm held hostage by some rich out-of-state motherfuckers that ain't done nothing in a quarter of a century. I root for my hometown team. I don't go, oh, I wanted my Holmes jersey because he's awesome now, or I need a Hebert jersey. No, I root for the hometown team. There's something admirable in that, you cocksucker.
I'm not. Hey, don't get mad at me because Jerry Jones has ran your franchise into the ground while at the same time making billions upon billions. That's a you problem. This ain't got nothing to do with me.
Yeah, but you always got those. First of all, you're always working a rib of like, it's not that bad. Man, fuck you. It is that bad.
Oh, no. Let me tell you something. There has been years in the past where I was actually right. I remember that year when y'all were like 6-6. I was like, dude, they're not as bad as they look because they were losing.
They as bad as they looked the other night?
And that year, I told you that you need to be drug tested. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. And they end up going to the playoffs that year. And to Dak's credit and the Cowboys' credit, they beat Mr. Let's Be Great in the playoffs. They beat Seattle. Now they lost the next week because they're the Dallas Cowboys. And, they can't help themselves. But they did win that game.
Okay,
And
so
they were under 500 that year at one point. I was like, dude, and it was midway through the year. I'm like, bruh, they're not as bad as they look. But at the same time, it's not like you're going to win a Super Bowl. You're crazy. They're not going to the playoffs. And they went to the playoffs. Now, this year, y'all got problems. Y'all got problems.
Okay, so for those of you who are in other countries still behind, no spoiler alerts, our quarterback, Dak Prescott, who, hey, look, he's not a top 5 quarterback, but he's in the top half of the league. And now that's our guy. We committed the money. There it is. But he broke his hand and had to have surgery. So he's out for anywhere, if you believe the liar in charge and chief, a month to 2 months. Our backup is not an NFL quarterback. He's just not. I mean, that's just the truth. He is not an NFL quarterback. So it's going to be real rough for a long time.
All I'm saying is the Saints.
And here's the other
went
thing.
5-0 with Bridgewater when he had to come in.
Before he left the game, we were still pitiful. 2 poots. He broke his hand like late in the game. It ain't like we were, that killed our chances. He was partly there when we killed our chances, which was basically after the first drive. So we got this offensive coordinator that's the walking, talking epitome of white privilege over on the sidelines. Looks like he's 13 years old. He has all off season to come up with a drive that gets us a field goal, and then he's done for the night.
Don't even get me started on him. That dude is like the golden boy who's never done nothing.
Right. That's what white privilege is, dude. Now, so if you're out there going, fuck you, dog, there's no such thing. I worked for my pickup truck. Look up Kellen Moore's resume and tell me white privilege doesn't exist.
But, dude, bro, I don't know how that dude. Why is he the golden boy?
Why?
Like I heard people now they're not saying it now, but like in previous years they were like, "Oh, Kellen Moore, he's the next great thing." I'm like, what has he done?
Let me tell you why. It's because Jerry was a wildcatter in the oil industry. And you just put a whole bunch of shit out there, and if one of them hits, you're a genius. So he just puts these tags on motherfuckers, and if it hits, he's a genius. And because he's a salesman and a wildcatter, if it doesn't, you just move on to the next one. But the problem is that, you look back, you wake up one morning, and it's been 25 years of bullshit. So here's the thing. I'm not going to stop rooting for my team. I can't. I'm not going to stop watching the games. I can't. But what I have decided to do, along with a very good friend of mine, is we have decided no more, don't buy us any more swag, no more money, no more merch, no more shirts, no more hats, no more anything else like the koozies or anything. No more money goes to that bullshit. Because they won't spend it on talent on the field.
He's boycotting merch. I love it. Bruh, I can't wait for
It's going to get
Payton.
real ugly in that stadium.
I can't wait for Sean Payton to come to Dallas and get driven up a wall by Jerry inside of a year and a half, and Jerry to send a good 2 first-rounders to the Saints and Lord knows what else to get Payton's services. And Sean Payton, who's an alpha male, the first time Jerry Jones decides to give a freaking injury update to the media before Payton can even take the podium, Payton is going to cut a vicious promo on his own owner because he gives 0. And I'm not lying. And that is a toxic brew waiting to happen.
Here's the thing I used to think, and now I'm completely wrong. I used to think, well, when Jerry dies, then it'll be everything. Now, his kid, look, I told you earlier, the doofus son takes over.
Spawn.
The special fruit that fell from the special tree, if you know what I mean.
Oh, God. This is glorious. Right. Let me tell you something. I have been a fan of a miserable. I have been a fan of a miserable franchise for many years until things turned around a decade and a half ago. Y'all are hopeless. No, y'all are worse than the worst Saints fans I've known. Y'all, bruh, this is unhealthy for you. You and lots of Cowboy fans I know, I'm joking, but man, some of y'all are on that Von Erich thing, Burger King ledge right now. And I'm like,
you know why? You know why? Because I love football. And I've been sitting there counting down days like, holy shit, we only got like 2.5 more weeks. It's only a week. Holy shit, last Thursday night, it's finally here. And I watched that game, and I'm excited about all this stuff. And you know what else? Unlike y'all in the 80s who had never been good, I remember what it was like to be somebody. And I'm talking about before that ignorant motherfucker bought the team.
So you say
let me tell you something. He built a generic ass stadium that looks like a big mall. He faced it the wrong way. We have an indoor stadium where the sun is an issue. I'm not having a stroke. That's a real thing. We put in a huge TV at the top that punters hit for fun during the game.
Yeah, you know Philip Allen is out there having a blast listening to you right now.
It ain't like the Eagles are going to do anything. Y'all scraped by the Lions, so maybe stick your dick back in your pants because that was nothing special.
Yeah, he would just say, yeah, but at least they won.
That's true. Half Pint needs to shut up too.
Oh, let's talk about the little fella. Suicide watch after the way they blew that game. Oh, Von Erich thing and Burger King thing for the Half Pint.
And I realize because there's only 17 of these gimmicks that we overreact to each and every one of them, no matter what. You get too high and too low. Because, man, I'm sitting there by Sunday night thinking every other team in the division won. So, but I'm telling you, I'm not overreacting. This team wins between 6 and 7 games this year.
Oh, I don't know if they get to that.
Right. So don't trade.
And I'm usually optimistic.
Don't send any picks away for a coach because, you know. Here's the other thing. Our third round pick, inactive. Last year's third round pick, inactive. It's just they don't know what they're doing. And they fail up. The Jones family is more white privilege. They fail at what they do and make more money. They're terrible at the job and make more money. That's some white people shit.
Bro, Jerry Jones was on SportsCenter before McCarthy could even get to the podium saying Dak was going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. It was a significant injury. When I tell you Sean Payton is going to like put Jerry Jones in a figure 4 if he does that, if he ends up as the coach of the Cowboys, he might be on the local news for attempted murder if Jerry Jones does that to him if he becomes a coach. But I've had enough fun at this point talking about that. I just want my first round picks when you get my former coach. Who will coach again? He said that yesterday. I saw a clip on him.
For all of you out there who are like, man, that sucks for Doc, man, I kind of feel sorry for him. I appreciate that. For all of you who think this is fucking hilarious, I hope each and every one of your quarterbacks dies in their sleep tonight.
Wow, that's not classy, Doc. Come on. By the way, Doc,
if I pass a Burger King, all the options are on the table.
I'm not feeling too optimistic, to be honest with you. Like, we barely snuck by Atlanta. But, hey, a win is a win, and you never apologize for winning.
You never apologize for a win in the NFL.
Crab Legs had like 2 yards passing through 3 quarters and then went for 260 in the fourth. So go figure. It is what it is, but I'm not optimistic. I'm optimistic about my Winnipeg Blue Bombers because they're 12-1 on their march to 3 straight. They are rolling, as rolling can be, man. They are steamrolling. We'll see. They've had some luck in the playoffs last couple of years. Maybe this is the year that somebody finally stops him in the playoffs. But anyway, Doc, let's keep going. Enough of the Cowboy talk. We'll make sure you don't do the Burger King thing and the Von Erich thing. I'll keep you safe there. Big shout out to Disrespectfully Classy, Marky Blassie, Mike Childry, Joe Ice, good old Justin for their generous support on Patreon each and every month, the largest patron contributors for this show. And then 2 new patrons, Rob M. and Damian T. Thanks for becoming BTT patrons. Enjoy all that extra content that is available at tinyurl.com/Patreon BTT. Hey, man, we got tons of, we dropped some CM Punk stuff early last week for the patrons that only went out to the patrons. It's the intro from last week's show, but that was out there early for patrons, about a week early. You can get that.
Can I say something about that?
Please do so.
So now the words are leaking out, and since everything's a work, you got to be real careful about what you believe, But the talk is out there that the Bucks and Omega have sent feelers over to WWE.
I don't believe that. Who reported that? I saw that. I don't believe it. I don't know
who reported it. I saw it, but here's the thing: Tony better get his locker room in order. And I would say that if any of that is true, the days of all friends wrestling is over. And I would say it was never really the way it was portrayed anyway.
No, they don't need to be. Actually, I think that would help them a tremendous amount. Get those whiny little punks out of there, all of them. Omega, the Bucks. I think Adam Page can be rehab. If you get him around the right people. I don't hate him like some people do, but Omega and the Bucks. Get that. The reason I say that, I remember seeing the Hangman Page and ROH, and I really thought he was good there. The other 3, get him out of there. Send him to WWE. You'll see me pull for Triple H for the first time and straighten those 3 jabronis up. I mean, that's just kind of how I feel at this point. I don't believe the report, though. I think that's just, I think people are just reporting all kind of nonsense at this point. But I will say this. I really believe Tony Khan's got a problem on his hands. Mm-hmm. You and I predicted, maybe by the time this comes out, it's already happened. You and I predicted that CM Punk would eventually be gone. The Bucks and Omega will
hold on.
Be there still.
This. I heard he's supposedly the cover boy for the video game.
That don't mean nothing when it comes to standards and practices and corporate decisions.
This ain't a corporation.
It's close enough.
Yeah.
They're on a major television network. They're not like a publicly traded company or anything, but they are a face on a major cable network. So I hear you, but
But you ain't listening. I get it.
I mean, it's just complicated, man. It's you're right, but at the same time, there's I really firmly believe, and who knows, maybe it's already come out by now, by the time this hits, because it'll drop in a week. Punk's out. I believe the Bucks stay suspended, come back eventually. But I do not. I give them like a 5% chance that that's true, that they sent out feelers to WWE, because they are friends with AJ, and I could see maybe a back channel conversation happening that way. But I just can't see them in that WWE environment. I just can't.
Where they have to do what the fuck they're told.
And it wouldn't be as bad as what Vince as it is now, but I just don't.
There's parameters.
It's a publicly traded company still. There are more parameters.
And I get that Triple H wants to, common sense, do some things Vince wouldn't do. But where did Triple H learn how this is all supposed to work? Come on.
Exactly. And here's the other last thing about that. Chris Jericho, as much as he gets on our nerves sometimes, and we've gone back and forth with him, actually. We hated him, we loved him, we hated him, we loved him. Remember when he first came back to WWE years and years ago, we first started this show, we were like, oh my God, we hate him. And then he would do things where we were like, oh, this dude's cutting promos and it's hilarious. And then he kind of gets on your nerves. He made a statement saying, hey guys, y'all got to get this thing under control, because, you don't realize what you got here, and you got to realize, and that's somebody saying it from somebody who's been to the other place, who's been on the other lawn. He knows the grass.
But you know what he's also
green.
saying is, it's also a message to Tony, because the problem is that you got everybody's acting out, and when other people see other people acting up, then they think they can act up too. So
That's true.
However they handle this is going to have future repercussions on the locker room, regardless of what they decide.
That's a good point. That is a good point. So he could be, he's preaching to the boys as well as he's preaching to Tony. I believe that. But we will see. But again, hey, and if you're listening to this early, because hopefully I'll have time to get it up on Patreon early, this part of it, at least the intro, tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT, where you get early access, you get video versions, you get the world-class shows with Lance and I, you get the ECW shows with the Boston Bad Boys, Mike Prue and JV, you get the NWA Power shows with the little fella Half Pint, who's on Von Erich watch right now with his Titans not doing so well, him and Sparks, tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. Also, don't forget some of the bigger things you get. The pay-per-views and Clash of the Champions that Doc and I always do whenever we come to them. We've got more coming up. So there you go. tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. I'm actually wanting to see how all this AEW stuff plays out. I mean, it's a shame. You said it, Doc. If they could just agree to just get along to make some money, boy, they got some money to be made in the ring right now with this, but they're not going to happen. That's not going to happen because of the egos involved, and
nope.
I'll leave it at that. But again,
so I got a couple more questions for you, little buddy.
Oh Jesus, please.
Well, one of them, I don't even know what this means or if it was even supposed to be on air, but you told me to ask you about Southern's band in 1994.
Let me pull up the text from my buddy, because I needed him to tell the story over again. So one of my good friends who I've been knowing for a long time, he played in Southern's band in the early to mid 90s. He went to Southern. And I don't remember the exact.
Dude, I thought you meant JT Southern, the wrestler.
No. But you're going to like this story.
You mean the HBCU?
Yes, the HBCU. Southern University.
Gosh, I'm glad we got that cleared up. I was about to be really confused.
He played in Southern's band, and the reason this was a topical discussion is LSU played Southern last weekend before last, if you're listening to this, at Tiger Stadium. So my buddy played for Southern, and back in the early 90s, Southern always seemed to have one white dude in their band. Now, as Doc said, it's
nothing like a token cracker.
Historical black university. So that's why they call them HBCUs. And so
how can they have a black college? If we had a white college, everybody would be angry.
Okay. So anyway, my buddy and I, we didn't know each other in the early 90s, but mid 90s, after he was out of Southern, is when we met, because we had worked together. And so I was asking him, I was like, man, I said, when y'all played in 94, because they played against my college in 94. They used to play annually, actually, against each other back then. I said, man, y'all had this white dude. And I said, I saw it actually too at another time. I was like, y'all had a white dude in the band. And at halftime, you know, the white dude would step out and he just started shucking and jiving at the 50-yard line. And people, the crowd went nuts because, you know, he's the only white dude in the band. And the dude is just having a blast, just dancing down. And, you know, all the brothers and sisters are having fun. And, you know, it's just a great time. So I said, and I asked my buddy, I said, T, that's his nickname. I said, T, correct me if I'm wrong. I said, remember years ago, there was a white dude you played with in the Southern University band? I said, I think you told me his nickname was Clu Clux. Or do I remember that wrong? Clu Clux being like Ku Klux Klan. He said, that's correct. I talked to him yesterday. I said, okay, I got to tell this story on the podcast. He then texted me back and says his real name. I'm not going to get a guy's real name out right now because he didn't tell me I could. He said the section leader used to yell out, "Oh, Clu Clux!" and old Clu Clux would run over there and say, "Howdy, boys, Clu Clux at your service."
What the hell?
Let me remind you, this is the only white dude at the time in the Southern University marching band. So anyway, that was the story I wanted to tell you. And I didn't try to Google it or YouTube it, but I guarantee you could YouTube. I bet you could see this dude doing this thing on a 50-yard line.
I don't really want to search Clu Clux if we're
No. Just search like Southern University white dude dancing in the band or something like that. I bet you it's on YouTube. I just thought I don't
even get the second K out and somebody's knocking on my door.
Right. The dude's nickname. He was the only white dude in the band. They called him Clu Clux.
I don't like that.
Bro, that's crazy.
All right, so my other question for you is, I heard that you were out and about last Friday night back out at the football field spreading your COVID. How'd that go down for you? Friday Night Lights, bruh.
You know, the one thing about like high school football is it's not like going to college or pro. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's probably a couple thousand people usually at the games, depending on who you're playing against.
Yeah. Big schools around here? Yeah, absolutely.
But you park relatively close. Like, I mean, we get there early because of my kid, just to make sure we get a decent seat. And
that's my girl out there, Dance.
But it's not a far walk. It's not a far walk at all. It's like, but it was cool. I ain't gonna lie, man. I was tired. I am still dealing with fatigue. Like, just like I'm sleepy during the day, and man, I am not a daytime sleeper. You know, like Harper's a day drinker. I'm not a daytime sleeper.
So COVID is still grabbed a hold on you, right?
I mean, I like I said, just fatigue.
Okay.
But I mean, everything else. I mean, my I ain't had fever in a week now, so I'm good.
So y'all kept it going last week?
What are you talking about?
The team,
bruh. This team is like the Dallas Cowboys. They can't get out their own way. They lost by 3, 3, and 5. 0-3. Combined 11 points in those 3 losses. They ain't crazy, man. I looked at my wife.
I'd fire the coach.
It ain't his fault.
Oh, well, where does the buck stop? With the Dance team?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you're back out and at it, though. You're out spreading these germs, even though you're not well.
What are you talking about?
You just said it's still kicking your ass.
Well, no, I mean, it says once you don't have like fever and cough or whatever, and you're good. I quarantined the necessary amount of time. What are you talking about? Ain't nobody spreading nothing. But you know what's crazy? I have talked to I know 4 different people right now who avoided it for 2+ years, not including you. I know 4 different people right now who avoided it for 2+ years and finally got it somewhere between end of July and now.
Yeah. Fuck it.
All right. What else we got, Doc, before we get into some Saturday night?
Well, you're not going to believe this. This is unbelievable news, but the gimmick ate the first page of my notes again.
Hold on, I just started the video version for people who only see the video version. I want you to repeat what you said as we are just getting into the April 13th, 1991 edition of WCW Saturday Night.
The gimmick ate the first page of my notes again, but I have figured out what's going on.
The gimmick being
my note taker
that your wife gave you, the electronic one that LaFonda gave.
I just assume that everybody's listens regularly. So sure.
It's not that. It's just that I'm like completely. It just amazes me when I think about it. Just amazing. When I think about your note taker and all the problems you have with it, it just amazes me.
Well, I figured it out. There's this temporary file that it loads it into to try to put it on the cloud, but apparently it eats the first page. So if I create another file on the right of that and bypass the one that it tries to load to the cloud, it appears to keep everything intact.
Jesus Christ. All right.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, well, on that note, we'll finally get started then, and we'll talk some Saturday Night on TBS. So this week's show, as well as the next week, was taped April 1st, 1991, at Center Stage. During the intro, we see a replay of Luger and Koloff going at it, and Koloff hitting Luger with the U.S. belt. We then go to Paul Lee, Missy, and Jim Ross, who are opening the show, as they have been doing recently. And JR mentions Pillman versus Flair later in the episode. And Paul Lee and Missy then get their stuff in and they bicker a little, and then we finally go to the ring. Doc, do you have any thoughts on the opening here? Missy looking good, huh?
As always, she's got a little preppy look to her there.
Ring a ding ding, as Harper would.
Ring a ding ding.
Yeah, as Harper would say. Yeah.
Yeah, the part-time superstar.
Bro, he's living on the edge of a lightning bolt, baby. Lately. All right. Let's go to the ring. The Steiners versus Don Allen and Lou Fabiano. We get a picture-in-picture from the Steiners. The Steiners, they currently hold all the belts, the IWGP tag titles, the World Tag titles, the U.S. titles. Although the U.S. belts are up for grabs since they can't hold them all, as we found out last week. Doc, what do you have from this one? And I realize you did say your notes were eaten.
Yeah, gone. In the cloud.
In the cloud, right.
These two on the right, the enhancement talent, look like some 1993 ECW fellas.
Especially Lou Fabiano.
Yeah.
So the way this thing ends up ending is...
Whoa. You did notice who's reffing this thing, didn't you?
Yeah, Bill Alfonso.
Yeah.
Fonzie. The Steiners... God, he was irritating. Remember that time he hit that gusher when he wrestled...
God damn, Beulah fucking damn near killed him.
Dude, he was so bloody.
And you know that blood wasn't clean, just red blood. It was tainted.
Tainted. All right, man. So the Steiners, they're going to hit a Steiner line to Fabiano. Actually, there's a Steiner line on the outside from Rick Steiner to Fabiano, I should say. The finish is we're going to get a belly-to-belly by Scott Steiner and then a tilt-a-whirl by Steiner, followed by a Frankensteiner. That was very nice. I was trying to let the video get to it. Looked really good. No surprise here. The Steiners are going to win, as they should. And I guess that's that. Did you have any other closing thoughts here as we watch Scott hit the tilt-a-whirl here?
That dude was flopping like it hurt.
Just a little bit. Watch this Frankensteiner. If my notes are correct, he hits this one pretty damn good.
Let's see. He shoots him off the ropes.
The guy takes it.
Oh, yeah. He ripped him there.
Yeah,
Rip it.
Good looking shit. And that was that. So then we go to commercial, and then we come back. I'm trying to get to it. Oh, shit. Why did this thing fast forward too much? All right.
Oh, guess we're almost done.
No. We got the one-man gang, who acts like the Maniac one-man gang, versus Rick Hardrock. Ron Simmons cuts a promo on Butch Reed because there's a lumberjack match coming up at the Omni tomorrow night, which would have been April the 14th, against Butch. And that's that. Butch is on his way out at this point. And that's that. Doc, any thoughts on gang versus...
If I remember correctly, Simmons is like, JYD's got his back. He's bringing the snacks.
Yeah, so much. Yeah. That's what he said. Well, he said they got each other's backs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Better watch out. JYD might take a bite out of your back.
Tell me about it. All right, so we got the gang. Gang is going to hit the 747 for the win. Doc, any thoughts on this here? Not much to really report. Gang,
we need to get one-man gang into a good match here. Let's heat it up.
I mean, he's not under contract or anything. He's just making these per shot appearances. Not that anybody's on a guarantee or anything at this point. By the way, I was listening. I didn't listen to the episode on Sullivan that you told me to listen to, but I was listening to him talk about Super Brawl. I can't wait to talk about that with you. Because of something he says about the monkey and the bears. I think I'm going to have to clip the soundbite to play it when we cover that episode for Super Brawl.
Okay. That's coming up, isn't it?
Yeah, not too far away. And the Oz set that they created for it, he claims they spent $120,000 on it.
It was the North Tower.
What do you think they do to monkeys in Malaysia?
I mean, what did they know about wrestling in the North Tower?
They didn't know nothing. I mean, you know what I'm trying to say? Keeping it moving. Vader's here, and Vader is taking on Mark Kyle, who we are told is from Butte, Montana.
He was from Los Angeles last week.
I know. That's why I brought it up. So he went from L.A. to Butte, Montana. Boogie nothing about Mark Kyle.
Just to see where he's from.
Vader's terrified those children. Did you see that?
Man, I would have been scared too, bro.
Vader walks up to the barricade and shakes it, and these kids look at the kids jump back. They're like, holy shit, we're going to die.
Little snot-nosed pieces of shit. Need to keep their fucking mouths shut.
Oh, come on.
What?
Seriously?
Yeah.
All right. Well, this doesn't take long. Vader's going to win this one pretty quickly. He lays into Mark Kyle. At one point right here, he's going to hit him with a serious lariat. Look at Mark Kyle take that bump. And then not too much longer after that, Vader hits Kyle with a power slam, and he's going to win by pin. Doc, I don't really have anything from this. Anything else from it? Do you?
Well, this would be a lot better if we could actually heat Vader up, but he's still, I think, in Japan too much to really do this properly.
He's come in, and then he leaves, and he comes in and leaves. I mean, you know, it's what they did. He's a star, though. I tell you that much.
He's a big bastard.
Boy, is he. All right. Well, we'll keep it moving. Let's see. Let me get to the next timestamp. So, we come out of commercial, and after Vader wins his match, and we're going to go to Vader, who is being interviewed by Missy Hyatt. Let's talk. Let's see what happens here.
Welcome back to World Championship Wrestling, and I'm Missy Hyatt, and this is Big Van Vader. And sir, I just want to let you know that Stan Hansen has been quoted in saying in World Championship Wrestling in front of millions of people that he retired the American Dream Dusty Rhodes, and that he ran you out of this country.
The world has felt the power of Vader. And now the WCW and the United States must feel the power of Vader. 7 world titles on 3 different continents. Big Van Vader, the most powerful wrestler in the world today. Stan Hansen, no, you ain't ran nobody nowhere. I'm standing right here, and I'm waiting for you. Come and get me, Hansen. The war has just begun. It's not over. Now, Hansen. Now! I'm here! I'm standing! I fear no man! And I feel no pain!
We'll be back with more wrestling action, but first, let's listen to this.
Doc, any thoughts on Vader right there, talking about Hansen and
I think it was
stuff
in the notes from the match that I don't have anymore. I think Paulie said something like, gosh, what do you think he smells like?
Yeah, it was.
So I wonder if the word that had already gotten around that he had some smelly problems.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Paulie's out there telling truth again.
The problem, dude.
Cheat the right.
I didn't mean to turn the volume up right there. The problem is Paulie is not a problem. We didn't know it back then, or we wouldn't have known it watching it. He's just breaking kayfabe all over the TV, and nobody knew. I mean, the guys knew in the back, but that's it. And it's funnier now than it would have been then. Like back then,
Oh yeah.
Back then, you wouldn't have thought nothing of it. You'd be like, what's he talking about? Okay. But then you watch it now and you've heard the stories about Vader's gear smelling and his gloves just stinking. And it's like, oh, that's what was happening.
But that was a good promo, man. He's serious and he's got the rap and he's ready to get in the ring with Stan Hansen and get it on, dude.
It's gonna be better when he's a mainstay.
Oh, I know.
Say it like that. Okay, so we keep going, and we got Bobby Eaton versus Pat Rose. Bobby quickly attacks Rose after I'm gonna call it the code of conduct because they shook hands in the ring. And then I'll throw to you, but as I say, I'll throw to you. When did your notes pick back up?
Oh, I got a while. But I will tell you, I love the fact that Bobby Eaton's like, I'm turning babyface and then still jumped a fool.
Hey man, you got to walk the line sometime. Got to be edgy.
I don't trust this guy. I'm gonna go ahead and jump him.
Yeah, it's basically what he did. So Bobby Eaton slams Rose, and he's gonna hit the Alabama Jam off the top rope, which, for a dude who doesn't look like this hardcore athlete, boy, Bobby could fly when he wanted to. He's like he floats. It's like he levitates when he hits this shit. Look at it. I can't explain it. It's like he comes down in slow motion when he hits it. I love Bobby Eaton. All right, Doc, any other thoughts on the match?
All right, I think I'm about to get some notes up.
All right. Well,
I
know you're about to get some notes up. While we're doing that, we do need to go to Gordon Soley from the WCW Super Brawl Control Center. Let's hear what Gordon's got to say about the next pay-per-view.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gordon Soley, and welcome to the Super Brawl Control Center. It's my pleasure to announce at this time that World Championship Wrestling is undertaking the biggest pay-per-view event in the history of World Championship Wrestling. It will take place on Sunday, May 19th, emanating direct from the Bayfront Center in St. Petersburg, exclusively on pay-per-view. As we announced a week ago, the U.S. Tag Team Championship is up for grabs, and two teams have been selected. The Young Pistols, one of the most exciting tag team combinations, Freebirds. We're going to be hearing from the Young Pistols and Big Daddy Dink.
You know something? It's a big honor to be one of the top two teams for the United States Tag Team titles, but it's even a bigger achievement to be the United States Tag Team Champions. So Freebirds, Diamond Dallas, Big Daddy, we're coming after you in Super Brawl. Be there.
You know the best way for us to get those world belts back? It's to go down to Super Brawl on May 19th and take those U.S. Tag Team titles. Young Pistols, get ready and bring all you got, because the Freebirds are going to be the champions.
What a tag team match that's going to be when you see the Freebirds and the Young Pistols collide for the U.S. Tag Team Championship. Other matches will include the World Television Championship, Arn Anderson defending his title against the challenge of beautiful Bobby Eaton. And then Ricky Morton goes one-on-one with dangerous Dan Spivey. And it will also be the scuffler from the Northwest, Big Josh, as he takes on the living legend himself, Larry Zbyszko. This is just part of what's going to take place in Super Brawl 91, Sunday, May 19th, exclusively on pay-per-view. And I'll be back next week with more information about more matches on Super Brawl 91.
I may have asked you this before, but I'm going to ask again because I can't remember. Humperdinck or Big...
It's kind of stupid.
Okay, so...
It's the name.
Okay.
Got drugged out strippers and DDP face, and I'm about it, but yeah. Why won't they let Tracy give some of the lines, bro? Look at that.
I don't. Okay, let me rewind, and then I'll let you address what you're saying. Look at that too. Tracy Smothers, and I also heard Sullivan recently say, talking about Smothers and Armstrong, he said they didn't remember, but they dropped the ball with them.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's like, both, he praises Tracy Smothers, but he's just like, they were over. They were so over in the Young Pistol. I mean, well, he says he put them together as the Southern Boys. Now, I don't know if it was him by himself or a combination, him and someone else, but, I mean, they were together before Dusty got there or came back. So, but he says he put them together. But he talks about how they were very over, and he's literally said, I don't know what we did to kill, like how we killed them, but we did.
Hey, man, you got them, you got Pillman. Come on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we talked about it last week. Like, this damn roster is
Let's get
stacked.
these rats serviced. Come on.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to say speaking of rats, but we got the Freebirds versus Dave Johnson and Terry Bronson up next. And DDP,
wow,
Diamond Dallas Page comes to the ring.
Clip that.
And he's got a new Diamond doll with him. And I'm not going to make a sexist comment like you will here.
Well,
she's flaunting it too, man.
This is her 15 minutes. This is her WrestleMania. She's got the cans out. In a minute, she's going to get in the ring. She's dancing and the music ain't started yet.
Cans? What are you, 12?
Fun bags?
What are you, 6?
Milk pillows?
Dude, look, she's
dancing and the music ain't started.
She ain't got no rhythm, dude.
What does that have?
She has no rhythm.
Dude, she is straight out of a Bullet Boys video.
All right, so the Freebirds are taking on Dave Johnson and Terry Bronson. You know, DDP introduces the Freebirds as only he can do here. He looks so ridiculous. He continues to look ridiculous. Okay, Doc, you say you got notes, so let's hear your notes.
She's a thoroughbred. She's getting the Friday night shift at the club.
I wish Harper was here.
God.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I can hear him.
You know, I said it earlier. I like this entourage. They've got the group. The problem with it is that it doesn't pay off well because
you getting distracted by the Diamond doll.
This one's got me flustered.
Let me tell you, man. I know y'all were oohing and eyeing over the one from a few weeks ago that was really working the camera, but you know, this one ain't my type. But there's something about her, man. She's
a bad bitch.
She got it going on.
Yeah.
All right. Now keep going. What were you saying? You like this gimmick? You like the entourage?
Now.
The Freebirds. You got so distracted.
Yeah.
It is good stuff with these guys. I mean, they are the whole
if they're
package.
The world's greatest rock band, wouldn't they have some people hanging out with them and some broads running around?
Yeah, not just that too. Like Jimmy Garvin and Michael Hayes as the Freebirds have always been ridiculous. And I think adding DDP and Big Daddy Dink to the group makes them even more ridiculous. Ridiculous in a good way and not a bad way like what they were doing with Rocky King. Because that was absurd. This is more in line with the stupidity that they need to be. They just were being racist with Rocky King. I mean, it was pretty pathetic how they did Rocky, but, you know, like Rocky said, I was getting paid good, so what am I going to do? The Freebirds win. Garvin hits the DDT, hits Bronson with the DDT, and JR talks a little bit about the match they'll have with the Young Pistols and who the winner may be. And then Big Daddy Dink also threw a lariat on the outside to Johnson. Any other thoughts on this one, Doc?
No.
All right, so then we go to commercial. When we come back, and we got Terry Taylor versus Tim Parker. We do get a picture-in-picture from Alexandra York. She mentions how her foundation continues to excel, and she's got her eye on Dustin and Larry Zbyszko. So she's still saying she's got her eye on both of these gentlemen. By this point, I believe Dustin was...
Is that the brown eye?
He was already... dipping his stick in the fun dip, as the
Come
kids say.
Really? That's what you're going to come up with.
Somebody said something on the Facebook group that was filthy about him and her doing it, and I cannot remember the words that they used, or I would repeat it here for you to tell me to grow up. Yeah. Okay. Doc, any thoughts from Terry Taylor and Tim Parker here? We'll get about 5 minutes.
At some point in this match, JR points out that Paulie lives at home. So JR started shooting back.
He got tired. You know what happened? He's getting tired and pissed off at Paulie a lot because you could hear it in his voice. And then he was probably like, oh, okay, you want to shoot? Let's shoot, brother. And he just shot back and said what he said. And, you know, at a point, you're like, you probably understand it if you're JR because you're so frustrated with the little idiot at this stage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Good stuff, though. Okay. So, any other thoughts on this match, though?
Not a lot. It was what it needed to be.
Taylor hit Parker with like a. Let me go back because didn't he hit him with like a tilt-a-whirl? I wanted to rewatch it to see if it was a similar move to like what Steiner does. Because I'm thinking to myself, wait, nah, okay, that's what it was. It was like a power bomb, gut wrench power bomb, I guess I'll call it. And then he hits him with the 5-arm and then wins, and we'll keep going. The next match is going to be Larry Zbyszko versus Dustin Rhodes. So these are two people that the York Foundation has an eye on. And I just want to say this is an excellent match. I continue to be, I don't know if back then I was impressed with, like, rewatching Dustin at this stage is really fun because, you know, Dustin Rhodes, I remember back then thinking, oh, you know, he's even, I mean, I was a teenager, but I was not a smart fan, but I was thinking, oh, you know, it's Dusty's son, of course, you know, everybody will love him. But like when you watch him, he's young, but he's putting in serious work and he does everything right. And we make the joke about everything not being airtight, but with Dustin, man, everything's airtight, brother. I mean, he's not wasting moves. You know, they do the collar and elbow right there in the beginning, and it looks like a struggle and two guys really trying to get an advantage. I don't know, man. He's a pro's pro, and I know it's 91 and he's been wrestling now for a few years, but I just think Dustin Rhodes in 91 is very impressive. And I'm not surprised. It's just I'm looking at it with a different lens than I was years ago.
Well, it's also another case of having some good young talent on the roster that we can't get behind and really get some. Why can't we draw money?
Yeah. Because like you said, he's a good young talent.
So 106.33, I thought Larry hit for him a stiff clothesline.
All right. So we got a sleeper, and it should be coming up by Dustin, a sleeper. You said 106.33? All right. Dustin goes into here it comes out of the corner. Yeah. I tell you what, that's just Dustin selling it real well, too.
And Larry's usually not that physical.
But you know what it is, too? If you watch it, I just want you to watch Dustin sell it. When he flies, because Larry hits him. He doesn't hit him too hard. But Dustin, because he's got the long legs and the way he flips backwards, it makes it look even better.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. You were about to say?
This was a good match. I mean, these two guys were smooth. It was nice. You know, at some point here, Larry puts on the abdominal stretch. I was like, somebody should bring that back.
Man, fans today, modern fans ain't going for it. I agree.
I'm not. Give a shit. I want to see what I want to see.
What you saying is you want somebody to put the bucks in an abdominal stretch and actually do it for real?
Sure. Where's Ronnie Garvin when you need him?
Jesus Christ. Can you imagine him in the ring with one of them dudes?
Actually, I can. It's what keeps me going. Keeps me out of the Burger King walk-in right now.
For a shoot, how much would you pay to watch Garvin for 6 or 7 minutes due to one of, if not both of the Bucks, what he did to that dude that time on Saturday night when he twisted him up like a pretzel and stretched him.
As long as it's not in the Cowboys Stadium, and so Jerry gets a cut, probably $50.
Only 50? You wouldn't give 100 for that?
I'm kind of cheap.
I'm cheap too, but man, to watch Ronnie Garvin stretch those two at the same time would be, as I like to say, tremendous. Imagine Wahoo chopping them.
Well, hey, Flair said it on his podcast. Do you think all that shit would have gone down if Harley Race was in the locker room?
Oh, what stuff?
All the AEW locker room stuff.
Oh, no. I mean, we talked about it on the last show, like just.
So, I like this match. I thought it was a clever finish.
Yeah, I'm about to.
And then I liked all the stuff that happened afterwards.
Yeah, so good point. Let me go to it now. So Zbyszko is selling great for Dustin as Dustin's rolling and throwing these punches. Dustin hits a drop kick and he's about to go to a bulldog or about to go for the bulldog, but Alexander York, Terry Taylor, who's on the outside, yanks Dustin's leg. It doesn't matter though, because Dustin still rolls up Zbyszko for the win. And then Dustin is getting jumped at the end, and Ricky Morton comes out to save Dustin. But then there's more double teaming. Dustin recovers, though, and clears the ring. Mr. Hughes comes in, though. Crowd's going nuts at the end of this with Mr. Hughes, and Mr. Hughes eventually powders out. But the finish you're talking about, which is good, even at the end where they're on Dustin, it's kind of cool because you're like, oh, damn, Terry Taylor grabbed Dustin's leg, and he's got him pulled down, so Zbyszko is going to be able to do something. But Dustin, with his leg being pulled on, reaches up with those long arms and cradles Zbyszko as Zbyszko is coming down to pick him up. And Dustin still gets the pin. Now, he gets the boots put to him after, but I thought it was a creative finish because you're like, oh, the babyface is about to get screwed. Oh, no, he figured it out. But then he gets the boots put to him at the end, too. I agree with you. You said you thought this was creative and you liked it. Tell me more.
112.48. Is
Okay,
Morton expecting a clothesline here?
112.40 right here. Let's see. 42, 43, 44. They shoot Morton off into the corner.
I felt it looked a little awkward, but not terrible. I was just curious.
Yeah, because Terry Taylor follows him into the corner and Morton stumbles out. And Morton, I think, was looking for a clothesline, but then when he realized Taylor punched him, he sold the punch. He kind of caught in between. But he looked. I didn't notice it until you brought it up. Look at Terry Taylor when Dustin delivers that elbow. Watch how he bumps. The way he flies backwards. Watch this. Here it comes. That's awesome. Let me tell you, man, this was a really good match. Fun little segment. Little finish to it at the end. Mr. Hughes comes in. This is good.
And Mr. Hughes does it right. Like, he just unbuttons the jacket. Slow.
Mm-hmm.
And then the white lady says, no, not right now.
And he powders out. Well, he gets out the ring. Nice match. Nice afterbirth. Like, this is good stuff. Crowd was into it. I got no complaints from any of that. None whatsoever.
That was really, really good.
It was excellent. It really was. So we come out of that, though, and Jim Ross throws through a clip of Luger. We'll go to commercial and then come back. And Jim Ross throws through a clip of Luger and Nikita that we reviewed over the last few weeks. So just a bunch of clips there. The last thing they air is Luger and Nikita going at it in the Meadowlands or from the Meadowlands. Nikita got DQ'd, and after the match, Luger uses Nikita's chain and attacks Nikita. And then Luger hit the ref with it and takes the U.S. belt and departs the ring. So Luger took his U.S. belt back. But then they show them in the back fighting, and Nikita and Luger still going at it with all the guys back there trying to pull them apart and break it up. JR wraps up this whole segment and says there will be a rematch for the U.S. title in the future, so wherever it is, go see it. I guess just more bad blood here, building this thing up with these two and seeing where it goes. I kind of like that. I'm not going to say I liked all the replays, but it was cool that they showed the stuff from, I guess, the Meadowlands with them fighting and on April 4th of 91.
Why are they fighting already?
Well, you got to remember, so they're only showing a clip, and then this is not a televised event. It's just, from East Rutherford, New Jersey. So I get it that they're fighting in a house show, but what I would tell you is I wouldn't take this to think, they're giving it away, because they didn't give anything away. They just showed that they fought, and then, there was some shenanigans with the chain and all that stuff, and they still need to settle it. They still need to settle the title situation. Because that's the thing. They're fighting. I'm not looking at the results right now, but I bet you if I looked it up, they'd fought more than just here.
Sure.
To sell tickets. Anyway, all right, Doc, did you have any other thoughts on how all this went down with these two?
I'm still ready to see these two.
Yeah, you and me both. All right, so let's go now. After all of that, and they show them fighting, and JR saying, yep, we'll figure this out, and we'll have a U.S. title match in the future between these two. There's a commercial, and then we come back from the commercial to a Arn Anderson promo. Let's hear from Arn and see what he's got to say.
Honor, it is my privilege to welcome into the Danger Zone tonight the enforcer himself, A. Arn Anderson. Now on May 19th, exclusively on pay-per-view at Super Brawl 1991, this man will defend the World Television title against beautiful Bobby Eaton. But before I ask you about that, sir, let me ask you this. The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, interviewed Barry Windham a couple weeks ago, and he couldn't get to the heart of the matter. He beat around the bush. I want to know, sir, exactly what is going on with the Four Horsemen.
Well, Paulie, dangerously for the last 6 years, it's been an honor and a privilege to be a member of the Horsemen. A lot of things came my way in short fashion simply because I was one of the Horsemen. A lot of respect came to me. But if I flip the coin, a lot of things passed me by. World title shots, sometimes U.S. title shots, a lot of things passed me by. Now, I'm not making mistakes, and I'm not making excuses, because excuses are the crutches of the untalented. I'm not untalented, and I'm not an underachiever. May 19th, Bobby Eaton, you come for something that belongs to me, not the Four Horsemen. This belongs to me. I earned it alone. I'm going to defend it alone. Now, you're all man, and on May 19th, that's what I want you to be. All the man you can be, because to take this, you're going to have to take out Arn Anderson, the enforcer, not one of the Horsemen.
It looks to me at Super Brawl, it's Bobby Eaton that's going to enter the Danger Zone when he steps in the ring with the World TV Champion at Super Brawl. And now we're going back to the ring.
Now, this is the second time Barry cut that promo, making it sound like it was the end of the Horsemen. Now it's Arn blaming, being a member of the Horsemen caused me to miss world title shots. He's clear as day right there when he says that. What were your thoughts on this?
Excuses are the crutches of the untalented.
Okay.
That was a line.
That is a hell of a line. Delivered perfectly by him.
I just don't understand why we would hint and sniff around at breaking up the Horsemen without trying to get some money and mileage out of it.
Just goes to show you. Look, it's not, I guess we've talked about Dusty before. He couldn't no-sell the people in the studio. There's the old story where he got mad at Ricky and Robert because they outdrew him on the B-Town. Remember that old story, Robert and Ricky tell, Rock and Roll Express? There was a car they were working. They outdrew Dusty, and they headlined this B-Town, and that didn't bode too well for them. I think Dusty's got an ego, and I think all this direction's coming from him, and that's why you heard Barry say that, and that's why you heard Arn say that.
Okay.
But you're absolutely right. It's like, why would we want to do that without drawing some money out of it? Milk this damn turn, man. Milk this thing, man.
Yeah.
Let's make some money out of this if we're gonna do this.
Why not? Shit, while we're here at work. We might as well try to draw some money. Shit.
Boy, you ain't kidding. All right, any other thoughts on Arn there?
No, he was great.
So then we go to Barry Windham versus Tommy Angel. Relatively quick match. Barry's gonna hit a big lariat. Then Windham sets up Tommy Angel on the ropes.
131-35. I like the move.
131-35. Well, here we go. We're right to it. Outside the ring? Oh,
he's
yeah.
agile.
Yeah, he does that running, jumping lariat on the floor. That's a big bastard. And he can
that's what I'm saying. It's like he skipped around that ring like a kitty cat, and he's a big mofo.
Underrated, Bob. See, that's the same move. He just did it in the ring. Oh, Barry Windham was so good. God.
God's
it's just everything.
We're chocked full of talent right here. And the shows are good, but the company's being run by a bunch of jackasses.
Fucking Jim Herd, man.
Just a bunch of shitheads.
What happens when you put a pizza guy in charge of a wrestling promotion?
You get slices of pepperoni all over everything.
All right. So after Barry wins, we go to commercial. We come back, and we've got a hell of a main event on this show. I'm going to call it the main event, even though the record show there was actually another match after, but more on that later because the end of this episode does get cut off. Brian Pillman takes on Ric Flair, the World Heavyweight Champion. We've seen Pillman and Flair wrestle in singles before. Been good stuff. Remember that time Flair let out a wet one with his pink tights on?
Come on.
So we've seen these guys do battle before. Doc, the start of this, I mean, they gave him like 15 minutes or so. So let me go to you. There's a whole lot happening in this match, especially towards the finish. Really good stuff, as always, because it's Pillman and Flair. I mean, what do you expect, you know? What do you have from this?
Well, Pillman started out hot, which you might expect, because he's got a grudge to settle, and he's mad at the Horsemen for the attack leading up to the War Games. And the War Games, they made him be the one to quit or pass out. Dude, did you see Flair's chest start bleeding from the chops?
Yeah, I got to chalk that up to, I just think Flair's chest is always raw because he's constantly just taking the chops, and just night after night it's just ready to get ripped open.
The mortgage guy asked the champ here last week if he'd ever used the strap as a prop in the bedroom.
Oh God, I'm gonna act like I don't want to know, but I want to know.
He said, "What do you think?" Of course I did. And he goes, and you should see where some of my robes have been. Them robes have cooties on them, dude.
You know what's awkward about that?
Because he's the guy. He's talking to a guy who's married to his daughter.
Yeah, he's married to his daughter. So, it's just you know, I don't know, man. Never mind. It's just awkward, you know. You're talking to your father-in-law. Hey, you ever use a prop? So did you? I mean, it's like, I mean, basically, won't you just ask him? Hey, you ever use the belt and the prop when you were, going at it with my wife's mother? I mean, like, that's where my mind goes when I hear him say those things.
Did you ever use the belt as a prop when you were busting out guts that weren't my wife's mother on the road?
I mean, the answer to that, of course, is yes.
Yeah.
Along with robes.
Hey, you always said it. We do not want to know what was going on in the 80s behind these closed doors in these motels and hotels.
I mean, like, just, okay, this is not the same thing, but just think about how the whole Grizzly Smith thing was essentially covered up or not known. Because I'm going to say I think some knew and were covering it up, and then others just didn't realize it. That stuff would have gotten exposed in today's world quickly. So, and that's the bad side of it. Now, if you want to take what Rick did as the bad side too, I guess you can make an argument. It's more of a moral thing, not necessarily a bad thing, as long as he's not committing a crime. But yeah, like, just think about the just ridiculousness that happened on the Tony Schiavone. When I used to listen to his show, he would talk about, yeah, man, you know, one time I knock on Flair's door in his hotel room because he had to tell him something or give him something. I don't remember what the story was. And there's a girl on the bed, and Flair had just finished, you know, giving a mustache ride, and he answers the door with nothing on, with the baby arm sticking out holding an apple. And Flair's like, oh, come on in, Tony. He's like, no, I don't want to come in. No, come on in. And it's just like, that's just awkward. You just are, your lady friend, because it ain't your wife, is laid out wide open on the bed, naked.
Wide open. Really?
You answer the door. I'm just repeating with a story. I'm not co-signing. You answer the door, and you ain't got no clothes on. You can't even put on one of your robes. And then you tell Tony to come on in and get him some. Like, what? That's wild, bro. I'm not trying to be outraged. I'm just saying it's wild. I'm not saying it to be outraged, everybody. Whatever. As long as he wasn't committing a crime, this is business. All right. They're working a fantastic match here. What else you got from this one?
We need to go back just a little bit. 141-28. And I'm going to set this up because I thought it was good psychology. Pillman had been no-selling Rick's chops. So Rick chops him, and then watch what he does. He leans in and grabs him so that he can't chop him back.
Yeah, that was good. I see what you're saying. I like
that because he had been returning fire on all those chops, and so that was a neat little thing that he did there.
Yeah, because you can't fire back. I mean, the dude just grabbed you. What are you gonna do? And he chops him, and Pillman turns him around.
Little things.
Pillman's a star, man.
He is.
He has
the thing that you can't teach.
It's just
he can connect.
So after that sequence you're talking about, he does eventually fire back at Flair, throw some punches. And Flair does the thing where he takes a bump out the corner. We're watching it right now. Flair bumps, and look what Pillman does to fire up the crowd. Slaps his hands on the ground, fires up. The crowd's going nuts. So Flair sells it with the face bump, and Pillman reacts. It's perfect. It's like little stuff like that where you're like, this dude's a pro. Like, he's good.
But there's also having it.
That's what I mean. He's got it.
That's
it ain't even
the difference between him and Zink.
No question at all. He's got the promo ability that Zink doesn't have. He's got the charisma. And the thing is, they're both like good looking dudes. Like, you know, built well, great bodies. But Pillman has a presence that Zink just never had.
Right.
Okay, so let's. You got anything else before I work towards the finish here?
There's a part here coming up where Flair starts slapping him in the face. That's disrespect.
So the way the finish goes, I'm gonna go through it quickly. So Flair takes that typical slam off the top rope that you just saw. Pillman misses a missile drop kick here off the top rope. Flair moves. Great bump by Pillman, just face first from off the top. Looks great. Flair holds up Pillman for one of those awesome vertical suplexes he used to give where he would hold the guy up forever. I mean, I'm stalling here because if you're watching the video version, it just looks great. I just remember when Flair used to do that. He'd hold guys up forever. I was like, man, that looks great. Now, he doesn't hold him up like I've seen him hold Hogan up forever. I mean, it's just so good when you hold that vertical suplex up. Mm-hmm. Flair goes for the pin. Pillman kicks out, though. Pillman then with some chops. The crowd is really into it. They spill to the outside and then back in. The champ here, not Orin.
Wait,
Flair.
Well, who?
Not Orin. Ric Flair.
No.
Oh, I mean, come on, Harper, bro. What the hell, bro?
So the champ might be a little young to be doing that.
Mike, I got a question. Why every time you imitate me, you got to make it sound like I'm a special person? My bad, Darren. Oh man, I like. Let me tell you, I like Darren, man. He's misunderstood. He can come across as a little, weird sometime in the group, but he's misunderstood. It was fun cutting that episode with him. I ain't bringing him back every 2 weeks, but Darren's a good dude, man. Let me tell you something. He checked up on me when I had the COVID. He was texting me, bro, how you doing, man? You feel all right? He's a good dude, man. I gotta say. All right, so they're exchanging chops. Pillman just ain't backing down. The crowd is into it, fired up. Pillman goes for a drop kick, but Flair ducks. Pillman unfortunately hits the ref by accident. Pillman then skins the cat and hits Flair with a flying lariat. Pillman has Flair pinned for 3, but of course, there's no ref. So then, after all that, of course, we're going to get some shenanigans. Arn Anderson comes out, makes a save. Then Flair puts Pillman in figure 4. The ref eventually comes to. Pillman continues to fight the figure 4, even though Arn is helping Flair with the leverage. Unfortunately, and here's where Pillman's got Flair pinned. I mean, he's got the champ pinned here.
Who?
And here comes Arn. The champ. Ric Flair's the champ, I mean.
Okay.
Not the other guy.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. Again, Pillman's going to fight the figure 4. Arn's helping with the leverage. And then, Doc, you know who comes to the ring?
Big Buzzkill.
This is going great, even
Look
with
at
all
Arn.
the shenanigans. Yeah, cause you know what's great about that? You see how he's ducked below the ring apron?
And he's bent and leveraged.
And the ref is just checking on Pillman.
Yeah.
So Arn is so far ducked down, the ref has no clue that Arn is trying to help.
Tremendous.
But out of nowhere comes Elegante, and he puts the claw, he hits Arn, and then he puts the claw on Flair, which means Flair finally breaks the figure 4. And then I don't even know if they announced it. I think we just end up with a DQ because of that. And then that's pretty much the end of our footage with Elegante choking Arn. And that's it. I say we go off air, but we really didn't. There was another match. Sting versus someone named Tony Mella. And then there was a Sting promo, but I'm 100% sure that this needed to be the end of the show. Doc, this was excellent. I didn't like Elegante coming out, but that's, you know what I'm saying? I'll give it a pass.
I'm not giving it a pass, but it was really good up until that point.
Yeah. I mean, Pillman and Flair were just excellent. Elegante coming out ruining it. What you going to do? But this was good stuff. Another, and dare I say, another really, really, really good episode.
What's going on, dude?
I don't know. But what I do know is that I am still giving away a month free on Patreon. All you got to do is email me to bookingtheterritory@gmail.com. If money's tight, or you've been wondering about becoming a patron, or you've been thinking about becoming a patron, you can become a patron of ours. I'll give you a month for free, but you got to email me you got to email me so that I can hook you up with it. Bookingtheterritory@gmail.com is how you do so, and you can become a patron for free. Now, if you don't want to become one for free and you want to just become a patron because you love the show and you love the fact that we've, done 1,000 shows and all these patron shows. It's tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. That is tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. Doc, we need to rate this thing and hand out a Rolex of sorts. Let's rate it first. And what are you going to give it?
Well, I got to tell you, I logged on expecting there to be some counter programming of baseball. And actually, JR at one point said that the Hawks were playing later that night. But man, this is another good show, and we're in a stretch of quality programming here. This is confusing to me.
It's because we got talent. Sometimes you just can't mess it up.
Right, but you got to remember, I've never seen these shows.
That's true too.
I've only heard about all the problems. And so that you got to be careful to check your biases at the door, because you got to let your eyes tell you what you're seeing, not what you read or somebody else tells you. It's a good way to live your life.
Boy, you said a mouthful there. That pertains to all facets of life right now.
Sure. So I'm going to go with what I saw. And again, obviously we always like to, it's more fun to sit here and chop it up, if you will. I'm going to give this a straight up solid and right down the middle of the road A.
I think it is very deserving of the A that you gave it. And I too am going to give it an A.
Man, I gave it
excellent.
I gave it an A last week too.
They're doing some good stuff, man. Like, don't get me wrong, sometimes they can't get out of their own way, like with the Elegante.
Imagine this. We're giving this shit A's, and Ric's like so frustrated in the back he's about to leave.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, this is April? He's not far from out the door. He's like right on the precipice.
Like, this is some bullshit. I gotta go.
Yeah, he's just F Jim Hurd.
Right.
At this point.
Well, yeah, he's being told in the back, I got to lose the title in 3 minutes to people without any build up. So, okay.
Yeah. The shameful part is they couldn't. I guess we'll talk about this later.
They couldn't monetize all this talent.
No. What I was going to say is Hurd couldn't just listen to Flair enough to at least, if Flair's going to leave, okay, you tell me how you want to drop it then. That's how bad it was. It was.
Okay, but man,
we'll talk. I mean,
you know the story of Murdoch getting fired through here, coming up when he comes back.
What's that? Refresh my memory, because I know he comes back.
It's something like
Slater.
He comes back. He's going to be with Slater.
Yeah, they call him the hardliners or some shit.
And Hurd asked him in the back why, what's wrong with the business? Why aren't we drawing money? And Murdoch basically said it's because you don't know a damn thing, and you jackass, and walked off.
Tremendous.
Now you want to talk about on top up there with the how much I'd pay. How much would you pay to be a part of that? Just to be standing there in the back when Murdoch tells Hurd he can't find his ass with both hands.
That's the thing about that whole AEW thing right now is we know, because we were in our 20s with the Montreal Screwjob, that the backstage drama has always been like top-notch stuff. It's but back then, even 91 or even the 80s, I mean, it was happening then. It just didn't get legs like it would now, or in the 90s with the Montreal Screwjob. Or, I mean, now it's on steroids with social media and the Meltzers of the world reporting on things. But yeah, I to the point you made, I would love to be a fly on the wall just to hear some of the things that were said about Herd during this time. I mean, you could do a mashup of just sound bites of every type of idiot that the guys must have called him.
Oh, yeah.
And the things they said about him. I always reflect back to what Missy Hyatt said to Conrad on Twitter. When someone tweeted out the conversation that Conrad had with Herd, and I guess Missy was tagged in it of some sorts, and Conrad was like, Missy, it's on ad-free shows, on the Patreon, but I'll get you the file. And Missy said, no thanks, I'm not interested in his revisionist history. I was there.
There you go.
I'm not trying to look. This is not me bad-mouthing Conrad, but Conrad was like, when you listen to him, it's interesting. He makes them points like this and this and this. And Missy's like, Missy Hyatt knows wrestling. She's got a brilliant mind, and it's a shame like none of these companies are taking advantage of it, because when you read her tweet, this woman knows wrestling, and this. And for her to just fire back at Conrad, and she wasn't being condescending. She was just like, no thanks. I was there. I don't need to listen to the dribble coming out of that old man's mouth. Mm-hmm. And you know what? She's right. Mm-hmm. She's right. Okay, so I gave it an A. You gave it an A. What are we doing as far as the Rolex? Who you giving your Rolex to?
Man, I really thought about Dustin. That was a good match.
Dustin is high up there.
Pillman and Flair both have considerations, but I'm going with Arn for the promo and the cheating.
This is hard.
I like people who do heelish things and talk trash.
This is difficult because Pillman is deserving.
Yeah.
Arn is deserving.
Mm-hmm.
Dustin is very deserving.
Yeah.
I'm struggling because I really don't know who to give it to of all of them.
Vader's promo was good.
I'm going to give it to Dustin because I thought he looked great in that match.
He did.
Airtight. I mean, just airtight. Excellent stuff. All right, so you're going Arn, I'm going Dustin Rhodes. And then we both gave it A's. So, I mean, here we are at the end of another episode where it was, like, fantastic.
Man. In the weekend I had, this was a high point.
All right. Before we get out of here and shut this thing down, I do want to give a shout out to our Vantage Point, the Retro Wrestling Podcast with Joe Murata and Michael Quinn, the northern version of BTT, slightly classier, definitely more professional, but still fun nonetheless. They support us. Please support them. Thanks, Joe and Quinn, for all of your plugs and hard work. Independent show, just like us. Also, check out the Bottom Line Cast with Mike Prue and JV. They do a show on the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin, so check that out. They also handle the ECW show on our Patreon feed, so check out Mike Prue and JV with the Bottom Line Cast. Doc, what else do we need to do before we get up out of here and shut this thing down, man? I miss Harper, but hopefully he'll be back next week.
We hope so. We hope that they get the whole NWA resolution put together, the whole card booked and everything put together. We always miss the superstar when he's not here. I don't know, man. All I know is that we played a desperate 0-1 Bengals team this weekend. I don't see things getting any better for me. I don't know. I don't know. I guess because here's where I'm at now. I can't expect the Cowboys to help me. So now, when I really need wrestling to pick me up, I bet next week's show is the worst. Thanks to her, it's the worst show we've ever seen in 7 years of doing this. And I'm just gonna, drive down to the ocean and walk in, and that's it.
What was the final score of the Cowboys versus Bucks?
19-3.
Do you remember if I told you if you scored 20 points, you'd win?
Do you know that we never got inside the Tampa Bay 31?
I'm just thinking. I was like, I remember telling you, I was like, I don't think the Bucks offense is as high powered because of the offensive line issues that I feel they have. And I was like, if you can get over 20 points, I think you might win. And they scored 19 to 3. Hey man, you know, don't Burger King thing, Von Erich thing, man. Just hang in there. I would say it'll get better, but I can't. Just hang in there.
No.
Thoughts and prayers, dog.
Thoughts and prayers, dog.
Thoughts and prayers. All right, well, if that's it, if you ain't got nothing else, I don't have anything else. So hit the tagline and, as I always say, let's roll.
Book it, bitch.